So do you think the social consequences of that printing could come to fruition and slow down this deflationary cycle because of the social problems that will come to roost first?
So if you look at the newspapers today, if you look at most of what is in the news today, it's the social problems that everybody's talking about. Whether it's Trump on one side, Bernie on the other side, or it's the social consequences of what we're talking about that are rising and is creating divide in the world like we've never seen. Well, we've seen at the height of world wars.
Yeah, but those monopolies that you're talking about that are driving the technological evolution, which isn't inherently deflationary, what if, there's talk about breaking up these monopolies, and that could slow things down. And you get into the power of monopolies later in the book, specifically with regard to AI and how the importance of large data sets that are always being updated are extremely important. And so that in some ways, if the goal is to achieve some sort of, AI superiority, then you almost need these monopolies. And thus, that's going to slow down that deflationary cycle potentially if we have these sort of societal issues, which are clearly rearing their head faster than runaway deflation.
Yeah. So let's dig into AI a little bit. And so it's one of the things, not the only thing. There's a whole bunch of deflation coming, but let's look at AI as a first principle. And so the way we learn is through error correction. The more you practice, the better you get through error correction. But we can't see all of the data sets. We have to choose to see certain data sets. AI, as it adds more and more data sets, it's actually the same thing. It's error correction at scale. But if you talk to I'm friends with many of them. If you talk to top AI researchers, then somewhere between 5 and 20 years, we're going to have general purpose AI that's better than us at everything. And so if every job, 5 and 20 years, that's not a long time scale. And if every single job is a function of our intelligence, and it's hard not to see that, right? If every single job is a function of our intelligence, and we're going to have AIs that are more intelligent than us, how can you logically conclude that there's going to be more jobs in the future? And so that path is going to, and so today economists compare general purpose technologies, AI and electricity, and say we've been through this before and the policy tools through electrification worked, right? And yes, there was retraining that needed to happen and everything else, but were there no jobs in the future? But I think it's foolish to compare electricity to AI. Nobody said electricity is going to be smarter than human beings. So electricity was an important breakthrough as electrification created new industries and everything else. But nobody ever said two things. Electricity wasn't doubling its performance every 18 months. And nobody ever said it was going to be smarter than humans. So I think it's a bad analog. But if you think that the policy tools that worked in the 30s to be able to bridge societies through that transition will work again in this transition, I think you're not looking at the first principles of what's happening in technology.
And AI is one of them. Another interesting area of deflationary technology that you get into is energy. And energy in itself also feeds back into a lot of the other technologies which could be deflationary. I think it's important that we talk about that as well.
So there is no life on Earth without energy. But for years, we didn't see the consequence of the energy and all the jobs of energy. We dig up all of the energy, or not anymore, but most of the energy from plants, animals that got the energy from the sun before, right? And that whole job exploration, refining, put it in your car, all of that produced a lot of jobs. We didn't see the second order consequences of those jobs. And then energy itself is about 9 to 10% of any economy. And the race for lower cost energy is a critical matter in economics. It's what drove the race for coal. It's really hard to stop a race for oil, race for all around the world, because lower cost, if you don't have lower cost energy versus your competitor, your economy fails because it's core to everything. We now have solar energy that is on par with the lowest cost energies in the world and following that same exponential trend of lower and lower cost. So the whole infrastructure of digging things up, refining them, having offsets and everything to the environment and all the damage that costs, in the future will look foolish. There's still going to be a massive transition time, but today, that has a huge consequence for if you're adding deflationary net nature of solar. Once built, you're not bringing coal to the solar farm, and so a lot of different jobs go away, and it adds deflation. Right, it adds to all of the other deflationary trends that we're seeing. So I just don't see how governments are going to stop it. But the other side of it, why is it a bad thing, right? If you think about the abundance that could bring you, if you think about the abundance in your life that could bring you with lower and lower energy costs to at some point potentially being free energy, why is that a bad thing?
I can't personally think of any good reasons, but there are some counter arguments that people would make that new commodities are going to become more important as new technologies arise, and that solar panels and the battery technology that we're going to need to store that energy is made up of these different minerals, which we don't mine at the rates that we're going to need to mine them at. And so you'll see the inflation come from other areas. So yes, oil might be in a secular downtrend and declining in price, but you're going to see that price of oil is going to make its way into other commodities. How do you
So I think that's actually, so if you add up all of these exponential technologies that are in moving, we are in a secular downtrend trend. And if you said today we have all the jobs of the traditional industry and all the new jobs of the build out of the new. So I actually see right now, if you that's today, and that's happening in a number of different industries. Tomorrow it won't look like that. Once you hit the breaking point of some of these technology, it'll change dramatically, and it'll drop all of the existing jobs. And so I don't see. I would love to have this debate, but I don't see where the jobs are in the long term that create net new jobs globally, net new high-paying jobs globally, and for our existing economy to work the way around inflation, that would have to happen.